Okay, here we have a question from Chris. He says he's just downloaded Filmora and he was hoping to use keyboard shortcuts. And obviously, if you're skilled in keyboard shortcuts, you're going to really speed up your workflow because you won't be constantly using your hand on the mouse. But anyway, what he's testing here is Control X, and he says it doesn't work. It's supposed to mean cut. And let's just review how do you get into the keyboard shortcuts, and let's test out a couple of features. Okay, so keyboard shortcuts are a fantastic way to speed up your workflow. You get familiar with the keyboard shortcuts and you can quickly get things done because you're not moving your hand to the mouse and clicking around. So how do you even know what keyboard shortcuts there are available in Filmora? You can go to File, Keyboard Shortcuts, or use the keyboard shortcut Control-Alt-K, and that will bring up the little panel here. Now the tool that we're discussing today is cutting. And so let's just go to Edit, which is where we would find these tools. Now there's different ways that you can modify what keyboard keystrokes you use in order to do a particular action. But one of the ways you can do it is up here. You can change it to either Adobe Premiere or Apple Final Cut. So what you're emulating is the keystrokes you might have learned in one of those programs. But that's not what we're talking about today. Chris was talking about when he uses the Control X, he doesn't get the K. And then he says no matter what he changes it to, it still doesn't work. And what he means by changing it is that you can actually type in your own keystrokes right here, and that would be the keystroke for this action. And this is where part of his problem is. You cannot change the action of the cut. You can only change the strokes used to do the cut. But this becomes more of a definition, as I'll show you in just a second. In this case, so let's take a look at what happens when we use Control X. And we'll just say cancel here. Now this is selected, and I will use the keyboard Control, and I'll press X. And what happens? We see that this disappears, what we just had. And I'm just going to use the reverse to bring it back, which is Control Z. And these, by the way, are standard keystrokes that you'll find in most programs, word processors and whatever. So I'm sure that what Chris meant was he wanted to make a cut here, and he didn't want to have to use the mouse on the scissors to make the cut. And again, Control Z, I'll reverse that. What he wanted to do was he wanted to make a cut there. So let's just take a look at the keyboard shortcuts again. And in this time, we're not going to go into editing. We're going to go down to tools. Although it doesn't really matter what category we're in. If we scroll down, we'll eventually get to it. But if you're familiar with editing on your phone, you will know that the split is the scissor icon. And in this case, it's Control B. So if we want to do what Chris is asking to do, we want to use Control B. So let's just try that. I'm going to hold down the Control key and I'm going to press B. And you see that made the cut. And if I use Control X now, it's going to remove the selected item. Control X, Control Z is going to bring it back. And this works for, Control X works for anything you put on there. Let's say we put a transition on right here on our cut, and it's still selected. If I do Control X, it's going to remove it, just like that. And Control Z will bring it back, 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 and now I even removed the cut. So what Chris wants to use is Control B, not Control X. Now, he could, if he wanted to, although I think it will tell him that he has a conflict, but if Control X is what he really wants to use for this tool here, he could change it. Okay, so it says the quick split mode Do you wish to replace it? And then I would have to confirm it and you change it. Now, I'm not going to bother doing that at this point. Oh, now I've made it an ad, so let's see if I can undo that. Well, I can't. Thing here, restore default. So that might be easier. Okay, got my Control B back. So the point is that if Chris wants X, Control X to be mean cutting a video instead of removing an object from the timeline, he can do that right here. But he probably needs to, first of all, remove this or rename this so that there is no conflict there. I believe as you go along there, once you confirm that you're doing these other changes, it will tell you that there's a conflict and you have to override that. But basically, that's the difference between what he wants to do and what he is doing. Control X means to remove something, and Control B means to split it into two.